All right, 11 o'clock. We're going to get started. Jeffrey, how we feeling?
Fantastic. I'm loving the way that song ended right at 11 o'clock. It just set the tone for great energy today.
Preparation makes everything look good. So, hey, we're going to start off and plow through the numbers. Brett Caldwell, who is usually leading this call, is not here today. Obviously, he is getting ready to celebrate his 50th 50 birthday in Cabo. So, make sure you text him and blow him up tomorrow and make him feel loved and maybe make fun of him a little bit too. Either way, we're here today. Hey, Rick Hill.
What's going on, my man?
What's up? All right, we're going to jump right into the old numbers here.
Let's
Uh,
go.
Fulton County. Fulton County, March 30th, updated today. We've got 557 active listings under contract and pending, almost 400 combined, right at a little over. And closings 234 looks pretty normal there. The most closings, almost most closings in the last couple weeks there. We're going to jump down to DeKalb. 312 active at this point. We've got 170 pending, staying right in alignment with the last 4 or 5 weeks. 131 closings last week, a little bit down over the previous 3 weeks. And then, Jeffrey, I know you're in Cobb. So we're at 324 active in Cobb, 211 pending, 102 under contract, 162 closed, which is a little down, similar to the others over the last few weeks. What do we see in the numbers, Jeffrey Melvin? What are you picking up?
I just loving the amount the withdrawals gone decreased in Cobb County right there on your screen.
Yeah.
So it's encouraging that stuff is going under contract and closing
Yeah.
and moving through. People aren't withdrawing the listings, so that's fantastic.
Yeah. Maybe some
Expired
Well,
price.
and I
too.
will tell you, we're seeing a lot, and I hope everybody else on this call is as well. A lot of open house activity. A lot of people out and about checking out houses over the weekends as well right now in Cobb County.
Raquel.
Yeah, same thing. Continuity, consistency, these are all good things. I mean, who knows what the effects of a lot of the international conflict, the media and the interest rate increases are going to eventually show up or how they show up. But so far it looks pretty steady and consistent, which is comforting.
I love it. I love that you went to the interest rate. So, what's the big number that we quote here all the time that if it's above this certain rate, quote unquote, it slows down. If it's below this certain rate, it speeds up. Does anybody know what that rate is, that number?
6.5.
Look at Biggie Cool.
Yeah. So cool. So cool.
Nailed it.
Spot on. So it's right at that 6.64 number. And guess what it's laying at this morning? Right around there. Pretty cool, right? So
Yep.
what we
We're in
know
the
about
money.
the 6.64 number historically is that if it's above that number, we tend to see a slowdown. If it's below that number, we tend to speed up. Again, that's just the number, but that's what all the data aligns with. That 6.5, Vicky, spot on. But with the rate conversation and things we're seeing, what's your pulse on the market, Jeffrey? What do you think's happening right now? We're getting into spring, rates creeping up a little bit over the last week. How are you feeling in Cobb County specifically? I know a lot of our conversation here is inside the city. You're outside the city. What are you seeing?
Yeah, I mean, we're living March and April, we're living in the benefit of lower reduced interest rates in February. So we're feeling that push. I don't know that we'll necessarily feel some of this rate increase till May, June. Um, but I also don't think it's slowing buyers down. I mean, I know we're talking about the conflict and oil prices and how that fluctuates interest rates. Buyers are still out there. Listings are still going under contract. We could make this something if we wanted it to, or we could just work, being
Yeah.
honest.
I see
We could
Mark Dan on
analyze
the
it all
call.
day, or we could just go work.
Yeah, I mean, what do they say about buying in, real estate? The best time to do it's now and any time in the past. So a half a point should not dictate, whether you live your dream or not in building wealth through real estate. Mark, quick question for you. Is it such a what is it advisable and does it even exist to lock a rate and then float down or to Like even if it's a half a point lower in 30 days and you're initially you're, front end of a buying experience. Any advice?
Yeah, so, what I try to do is just figure out like what the cycle of the transaction is going to be. We all expected a knee-jerk reaction, right? And what goes up must come down. They definitely go up faster than they come down. I don't know why that is, but yeah, so like sometimes we do that, but most of the time a 0.5%'s not really, depending on the price point, it's not really affecting the payment like a ton. It's not like it's $800 a month more or anything like that. So we just try to talk through that, and we have like buy downs that we can do and that kind of thing to negate that. And so it's really just about having a conversation and about what it really means. Because once everyone figures out what it really means, most of the time it's really not that big of a deal.
Cool.
Spot
Thank
on.
you.
Spot on. All right. Certain areas are seeing multiple offers and houses selling very quickly. I have seen this a lot the past couple of
Yep.
weeks. Yeah, hyper local. Rick, you
Yep.
talk a lot about that. Neighborhood to neighborhood can be so different. Hyper local matters, right?
And, it's a pricing conversation.
Hmm.
We can coach every single agent on this call on how to get multiple offers. It's a pricing conversation.
Spot on, spot on. All right, we're going to jump into the articles today. And what I'm excited about is there's some practical application coming out of these few articles we were going over. The first one coming up on your screen here is what today's buyer really wants. And what the article really goes into is how the buyer has ultimately changed over time. And then I got on the call this morning and we realized they've just changed. It's more like 20, 30 years ago. So I guess it's going back. But the buyer's more informed now and more selective and harder to impress, is what the article goes on to say. But they're not buying a house anymore. They're buying a place they want to actually live. And we talk a lot about the emotionality of a move. And what the article really highlights is, are we communicating in a way when we're listing property, when we're describing property to people in an emotional aspect? Or are we just talking about data and numbers of bedrooms and more specifics? And the article also says that function plus flexibility means more than size. Right? The big homes is not always what people are looking for. They're looking for functionality and flexibility in that home. Emotion is more important than specifics, 4 bedroom, 3 bath, versus the what it means to move to a certain area and what it means for your family and what that entails. And then lifestyle is more important than features. And it reminds us that homes sell emotionally first, as you can see in there. But then it gives us 6 key trends driving buyer decision in 2026. It goes into layout, starter homes, paint color. One I want to highlight is the Instagram effect. We'll talk a little bit about that. Craftsmanship, quality materials. People really want good craftsmanship. I think that's maybe after the boom that we saw of poorly built homes.
And
Curb
DIY and
appeal.
DIYs.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. But Jeffrey, what'd you see in this article when you read over? What stood out to you? Would really love to get your feedback as a social media guru as well.
Well, I mean, it's more how I can use this to impact my business. So you can copy and paste these 6 key trends right here from this article and drop that into your AI platform and ask it to create you social media content around this, because this is what's driving a buyer to decide to make a home. So why are we should be speaking directly to the buyers on this. This is what they're asking for. And it's amazing how simple it becomes when we put the perspective of, wow, what is the buyer thinking? What does the buyer want? Let's give it to them. That was my takeaway from this one article, Matt. Of,
Yeah.
man, everybody can copy and paste that, drop it into Gemini or Chat or Claude, and create me social media content around this right here.
Yeah, and
And
make
and
it
from a
real.
seller, and from a seller, ask it to do it from a seller's and a listing perspective, because the buyers, how are they looking at your listings?
Yeah, the human condition is fairly predictable, and everyone wants to buy, no one wants to be sold, which comes back to asking better questions and making sure that, there's an emotional construct to your questions. How will it feel? What would it be like experientially? And I keep reading, young people are all about experiences. I don't know that that's any different than when I was a young person, But I guess because of social media and the reflective energy and, the external world and what other people are projecting back, it's easier for people to emulate or find something to, to link onto or to grab hold of. But just remember the word motion is in the word emotion. If you're marketing and you're messaging and your interrogation and questioning and consulting don't attach to an emotional, nerve somewhere, you're dancing on the surface.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
that's what this helps you do is dig in a little deeper and connect the dots between an emotional connection. And then ultimately people do rely on intellect for validation of that decision.
Love that. The article made a good point that it says the agents who win today aren't the best describers of homes. They're the best translators of lifestyle. What's that mean to you, Jeffrey?
Man, I mean,
That's good.
it translated to Keller Williams. I mean, my whole pursuit is life by design, and that includes where I live and how I live. So, man,
Yeah.
that's good, Matt. That's a good
I'm on
takeaway.
I'm on a call with two very good storytellers, and it just reminds me of Donald Miller at Family Reunion. Those who were at Family Reunion, Donald Miller walks us through a framework. We've talked a lot about it of how to tell the story and make the home, make the client, make the consumer the hero, the subject of the story, and how to emotionally tie them into this lifestyle, not make it about us. And I would say sometimes we miss the mark in that industry. It
Yeah.
may just be me that we make it so much about us and the house, but not so much about the consumer who's going to be purchasing that lifestyle that is ultimately what they are going to be living in the next decade of their life. Does that make sense?
So
Yeah,
much sense.
people buy stories. I mean, that's the end of the
Yeah.
day. That's what resonates and becomes memorable. I love in the next article, he says something I've never heard it said this way. And at some point I keep thinking I'll have heard everything some way, but he says, be a lighthouse, not a spotlight. And I thought, man, that's pretty cool because the spotlight component would be like trying to illuminate your greatness. The lighthouse, I guess, mentality is that you want to be the guiding light for helping them find themselves in their story. It's not your story,
Um,
it's their story and the overlay of the two.
Yeah. We're going to
G-
motor.
Gary's been talking. Gary's been talking a lot about the ego, and you can see a lot of it, Rick, in the difference between being a spotlight and a lighthouse, and actually even how agents run their personal lives and their businesses. That lighthouse piece that
Ooh,
eliminates the ego right there because all you're doing is trying
yeah.
to guide them home.
Well, we're
Yeah,
going to,
you
we're
love it
going
on people or trying to get likes. It's
Yeah, yeah. Let's swim on over that article, Rick Hill, and we're going to talk about the reason agents plateau and the 5 ways to break through. So this article really goes into, can't wait to get y'all's feedback on this, the actual real reason the agents plateau. And they don't plateau because they actually need something new, which is, I mean, in society, everyone, that's what we're after right now, right? The shiny object. They actually plateau because we stop doing what actually works. And what actually works can be really boring. It sounds really boring, may not be as appealing to us in this world, but we all know the basics. And we talk a lot about the basics of conversation and database and follow up. But if you're like me, we tend to drift a little bit and we drift outside of the basics because everything in this world is telling us what will fix our problems, and what, besides what is tried and true. So it goes into the basics, which is the one way he says to fix it. Number two is we track what is actually working. So do we actually track where our last 5, 10, 15 closings have come from? Do we look at our closings over the last 3 years and say, hey, where have the majority of our closings come from? And where are we spending the majority of our time? Number three is they eliminate distractions and noise. So the question I ask myself here is what am I doing that feels productive but isn't producing? The fourth thing is they commit to consistency over time, he says. And then number five is they raise their standards and operate like a business. Uh, Gentlemen, what'd you take away? Rick, I know you like this one the best, I believe, from this article.
Yeah, I mean, I'm reminded that if I'm in a lull, structure equals freedom. And so
Mm,
if you're feeling disconnected from results and from momentum, it's probably a lack of structure and a lack of intentionality from the day before when you show up for work. So my advice it's all about conversations, and there's a correlation between the number of quality conversations you have every day and the ultimate result that you're going to enjoy and achieve. But restructure your day, and it might be as simple as Hal Elrod's The Miracle Morning. Get up an hour earlier and spend 30 minutes working on you so that your mental and physical health, are in perfect alignment, so that what you're projecting is magnetic to the right people. And so, and the other half of it is make sure that you've got a committed list. And earlier you said not everybody in your database is necessarily created equal in terms of their capacity to serve and help and support you. And so get really clear in who your advocates are and start there. And then I'll add one last thing. If you're really stuck, go back to Ignite, which is now Project 120. What are we calling this?
Breakthrough 120.
Thank you. I'm
Project.
old school, man. But the daily 10-4. If anyone who can tell me what the daily 10-4 is, free gift, virtual hug, high fives, trophies, you name it, I'll give it to you. One person on the call, daily 10-4. I'm taking you back.
Oh, come on. Somebody's got to pull it out, right?
Isn't it 10 phone calls and 4 note cards or 4 letters?
Hubert, you're so onto it, man.
Yep.
It's connect with 10 people in a meaningful way. In Ignite, it's 10 new people that are not in your database. If you've got a mature database of 1,000 or more people, you probably could succeed just carving up that with 10 quality connections. But in the initial goal is 10 new contacts, put the same 10 people in your database, 10 send 10 thank you notes to those same people, and then preview 10 houses so that over time you're the master of your market and the immediate opportunities. So you have a more compelling story to tell at an open house when you go, hey, have you seen this house? Have you heard of? If you could wave a wand and make it perfect, and instead of going, come to my office and we'll do some consulting, you say, I've got 3 in mind right now. Are you available tomorrow at 11 a.m. if I set up some appointments? Different conversation, different level of expertise. But the 10-4 is connect with 10 people, put them in your database, send them 10 thank you notes, which is a secret weapon of all weapons. Thank you
Yes, it
notes.
is.
Handwritten notes are magical. And then preview 10 houses. This whole funk thing goes away inside of 2 weeks. I guarantee you.
Guarantee. Jeffrey, where do you see people
And
getting most distracted?
it can, oh gosh. Well, I was gonna one, make sure y'all listen to MREA podcast from today, Erica. It ties into this perfectly. I see agents and people getting distracted um in lots of different ways, but I found a lot of agents know more about other people's businesses than they know about their own business. We'll sit
Ooh.
across the table from an agent and they're saying, well, they're closing deals. Why am I not closing deals? Or she closed 3 deals last month and I didn't close any. I'm like, well, are you more focused on her business or your business? Are you more focused on what he's doing or what you're not doing? That's a big distraction piece, Matt.
Yeah, spot on. Spot
We've
on.
also been working with agents to hack some of the distractions. And I know we're having that conversation a little bit later in the month, but be looking for ways to hack the natural distractions in life because they're going to happen. How can you hack it to turn that distraction into a productivity activity?
Do you have a personal story you could tell us around that quickly?
Yes, I know you're going there. How many of y'all? I mean, we all get stuck. How do I have to ask? We all get stuck in the trap of scrolling Instagram reels, things like that. We
No idea what
committed
you're
to
talking about.
no
No
idea what I'm
idea.
talking about.
No
So
idea.
we committed to a 10-day. We are only scrolling CapCut templates. So when we're looking for our dopamine fix, we're just scrolling templates because it's the exact same thing. And the hack is I can bookmark that and actually use that template to make money versus just scrolling a whole bunch of reels. And I like the idea, whatever. Doing CapCut, go to templates and bookmark those. Now you've at least made your distraction profitable.
Boom. Love it. Love it. Love it. All right. Last article. Momentum is no accident. Smart agents leveraging these 2026 trends. So basically, the article is getting into that every business is trending up, flat, or down. And most agents don't even know which one that is because, like Jeffrey said, they're more worried about other people's business, but we're worried about our business. And basically, it goes into momentum comes from focus, not actually doing more. doing what works over time. And then it gets into the five trends smart agents are leveraging in 2026. So I love this article. Would love to know, Jeffrey, what do you think of the five trends it mentions? And what did you take away specifically?
Well, and this is the one that talked a lot about being the lighthouse that Rick was referencing. I think the just trying to become the progress versus perfection was a big one for me. How can I become a better version of myself today? And the only way to get better and the only way for my production to increase tomorrow is to get better today. Um, I did like how he breaks down the simple ways to connect with people. We go for the big flashy objects, and this is really like, no, just serve people, love people, do what Rick was talking about on the 10-4 or 5x5, and and make it happen. Like progress is way better than perfection, and we're paused out. We're stuck on perfection so often.
Yes,
And
sir. Raquel.
there's an element of fear too with not asking hard to ask questions, or maybe even for some of us who aren't comfortable with social media posting. And the only thing I would remind you is that you're never going to hit the mark with everybody, but if you do nothing, you'll hit the mark with no one.
Right?
And so
It's
there's
the
someone
same.
that needs your
Yeah.
message. Someone needs the ask. Someone needs the motivation or the inclination to pause and rethink where they are. And failure to deliver the question is a failure to be a friend. And don't be that person. Like frame it in a way that's relational and less about marketing and with a statistical goal in mind.
I'm batting this idea around Matt of like we have our physical health, we have our mental health, we have our emotional health, but we also have our relational health. And what does our relationship health score look like with other people? And a lot of it does begin in today's society on social media, and being able to evaluate and look at um, how socially healthy am I? Or am I giving into what Rick was talking about the fear and the fear of posting, and I don't want to post, and I don't, I'm not good enough, or all of those type of things. And we're unhealthy when it comes to our social connection with people, and you can see it on
Yeah.
people's social media. It's consistency. It's just like how you would take care of your body. You have to be consistent. Going to the gym 3 times a month is not the same level of consistency that going 3 times a week.
Yeah.
Same thing with your social health.
There's a book called The QBQ, The Question Behind the Question. Truth lies in the second and third level cascade or waterfall question. It's never the first response. And what I read in this article is that the magic is in the follow up and the follow through. So if you pose a good question, let's just say it's a social media post as an example, and someone comments or likes, pick up the phone and call them and go, "Hey, I noticed you liked
Right?
it. What compelled you to do that?" And then see what they say. Like that's where the magic lives. It's not a like alike. I mean, that's just too easy.
No,
That's not the way to
no.
it's about building strength in relationship. And it's about again asking a question. Question unasked is a question unanswered. And it may be exactly what they need, and you're the person to do it.
Yep. Donald
Spot.
Miller talks about that, Matt, or Rick, what you were talking about of when somebody likes something you post on social media, they're raising their hand to have a conversation with you because you, I mean, the amount of scrolling we're doing and not liking and not commenting is crazy right now. But
Yeah.
when somebody pauses and goes, "Hey, Monica, I liked your post. I see you," and they're clicking that heart button or that thumbs up button, they're really raising their hand to say, "Hey, I see you and I'm interested in what you posted." Jump
Hmm.
on it.
Yeah.
Jump on that.
Even if it's not real estate related, it shows that you're paying attention.
Yeah. What would it look like if I went and thanked, DM'd, or picked up the phone and called, Becky and Michelle and Jen, who all liked my post this morning? It- what? That would change our relationships,
I mean,
Yep.
even
Yep.
if it's as simple as thank you for paying attention, I really
right?
appreciate you.
Yeah,
Gratitude. How
you're
do you know when
rewarding
someone needs
behavior.
encouragement and gratitude? They're breathing.
Mm.
I know what
I
I
think, oh, who's
what I
that?
share, because I that's one of my lifelines to social media. What I do is when I get a new follower, I reach out, I DM and say, "Hey, thank you for the follow. I look forward to staying connected." And then they reply or they don't. But the ones who do reply, then I was like, after maybe tomorrow, I'll say something to them where it's something that I saw on their page or something that's going on. Just, ask them a question or just have a conversation. And by the third time, I'm getting their phone number and home address. So,
The article talks about doing more for less for fewer people, and that's exactly what you're doing. You're doing a whole lot more for a few people versus you trying to create everything be generic and, oh, follow me, follow me, follow me. You're following up with people and doing a lot of great things for those people. It's amazing. It's You're living out this article.
Yeah.
A bunch of the articles today, all three of them had this description of focus and how we get so easily pulled in different directions. So we've got a few more minutes, but there was this reminded me of the One Thing book. If you haven't read the One Thing book, I highly recommend it. And one of the things it talks about in the One Thing book is something called the Four Thieves. Does anybody, you gentlemen, remember the Four Thieves? So the four thieves were all around what's the biggest challenge we face when it comes to staying focused on anything that matters most in personal life or business life. And I loved it because it really broke down the four. And the four were the inability to say no to other people or ourselves, right? And that was all about when we say yes to something. Every time we make a decision, yes to something, we're saying no to something else. I think I've been told that a million times. That actually came out of the one thing, the inability to say no to someone or to ourselves. Number two was fear of chaos. And this one's so interesting, which is anytime you double down and put a lot of effort on the things that matter most, i.e., we've talked a lot here about making contacts, the basics, what inevitably happens is untidiness or disorder or disarray. Like, has anybody ever got really busy and then things start getting messy and we feel like we're going a million miles a minute and something internally is like, hey, I gotta get all this straightened up so I feel better because I have a fear of chaos. And then we get back
Woo!
to the loop. Is that hitting home for anybody? I grew up in a chaotic childhood, so for some reason, guys, I think chaos feels really good. It's just normal. But I've been told that's not the normal. We could have a therapy session about that. But fear of chaos is real.
Yeah.
And I think it slows us down when we get busy and we go all in. The third one is poor health habits. So this is personal energy mismanagement. Rick, I know you could talk about this all stinking day, and this is what coaching is all about. But when we keep borrowing against our poor management time and our energy because we're all in on something, we usually it hits home in a different spoke, right? It hits home in a different component, and nothing is an emergency like a health emergency if you've ever had one. It'll slow you down faster than anything. And then the fourth one around that was environment does not support your goals. So are you hanging around with people and big fish who are looking at the market right now and looking at all that's going on right now and saying, holy opportunity. Like, this is what I'm all about. This is what I'm doubling down. This is what I want to do. And I want to go bigger. Are you hanging around people that are talking complete opposite and talking about how hard things are and talking about why the heck would you want to be a real estate agent and talking about all the things that are going to go wrong in the world all the time? And those four things, although the book was written, what, 2 decades ago plus, I think still really resonate today more than ever of environment does not support poor health habits, fear of chaos, or inability to say no. Everything in my life with focus comes back to that. What do you guys think?
Two thoughts. One, chaos to me equals opportunity. And so when you feel a certain stress level around something or something or things, multiple things, make sure you frame it to your advantage. Like, is it really opportunity or is it really pain and distraction? And then my best advice is eliminate the unnecessary, which is also tied to the 80, the 80/20 rule. And, The one thing is, do only the things that matter most, subcontract, outsource, or give away, or don't do the things that really are irrelevant and could be delayed or kicked down the road. So chaos to me equals opportunity. If you're not living a chaotic life in real estate, you need to make more calls because it gets way more profitable if you're living a chaotic state. And the other is you nailed it with the health quadrant. And this hit me this week coaching someone who said, I have a hard time gauging 1 to 10 on health. And I said, why is that? And he explained, because health really to me, there's just multiple facets. There's mental, physical, and back to Jeffrey, relational health. My best advice is scale all three of those or rate all three and blend the score if that's how you like to
Wow.
play. And recognize that that's got to be your number one priority, mental and physical health. Get up an hour early, take care of that. The rest of the day, it's cake. Literal.
And,
You've got
and you
wind
can eat
behind you.
cake.
Yeah,
You
and you
can
can
eat
eat all
cake
the
if you
cake you
take care of
want.
your health in the morning. You can eat cake too.
Michelle's nodding no. I don't know if that's for us. She's going intellectual cake.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Oh, I'm ending this call. I'm so sorry, Matt. It's your call.
No, hit it. Let's go.
I was like, it's
Wrap it up.
11:30. Bye.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yep. So, hey, just wanted to finish with that. We're 1 minute over. Usually Brett Caldwell goes over, not Matt Pitts. I hope you guys have a great day. So thankful for you. Talk soon. Bye.
Love you guys. Thanks for those that turned on the cameras, man. We love that.